Hello, Fáilte. Welcome to another recording of the Táin Cooley, the cattle raid of Cooley, with myself, Lora O'Brien. Please forgive not being on screen this week. I have not been well, and it's a bit of a struggle to get on the mic, let alone get on camera. So we are reading, as ever, from Joseph Dunn's translation from 1914 of the cattle raid of Cooley, the Táin Cooley, obviously known as the Táin, just simply in some places. But we finished last time on the White Fight of Rucha, and we are starting today with Iliach's Clump fight. Here followeth Iliach's Clump fight. Then came to them Iliach, son of Cass, son of Bach, son of Rosrua, son of Rodriga. It was told him that the 4 grand provinces of Erin even then laid waste and invaded the lands of Ulster, and of the Picts and of Cooley from Monday at summer's end, that's Samhain, till the beginning of spring. He then conceived a plan in his mind, and he made perfect his plan privily with his people. What counsel were better for me to make than to go and attack the men of Erin and to have my victory over them, and thus avenge the honour of Ulster? And I care not though I should fall myself thereafter. And this is the counsel he followed. His 2 withered, mangy, sorrel nags that were upon the strand hard by the fort were led to him. Thus he mounted his chariot without either covers or cushions. His big, rough, pale grey shield of iron he carried upon him, with its rim of hard silver around it. He wore his rough, grey-hilted, huge smiting sword on his left side. He placed his 2 rickety-headed, nicked, blunt, rusted spears by his side in the chariot. His folk furnished his chariot around him with cobbles and boulders and huge clumps. In such wise he fared forth to assail the men of Erin. And thus he came, and the spittle from his gaping mouth trickling down through the chariot under him. Truly it would be well for us, said the men of Erin, if this were the manner in which all the Ulstermen came to us on the plain. Dóché, son of Maga, met him and bade him welcome. Welcome is thy coming, O Iliach, spake Dóché, son of Maga. Truly spoken I esteem that welcome, answered Iliach. But do thou, for the sake of that welcome, come to me when now, alas, my deeds of arms will be over, and my warlike vigour will have vanished, so that thou be the one to cut off my head, and none other of the men of Erin. However, my sword shall remain with thee for thine own friend, even for Lora O'Brien. He assailed the men of Erin with his weapons till he had made an end of them. And when weapons failed, he assailed the men of Erin with cobbles and boulders and huge clumps of earth. And when these weapons failed him, he spent his rage on the man that was nearest him of the men of Erin, and bruised him grievously between his forearms and the sides and the palms of his hands, till he made a marrow mass of him, of flesh and bones and sinews and skin. How has this not been made into a big feature film? I really don't know. He made a marrow mass of him. What a description. Hence, in memory thereof, these 2 masses of marrow still live on side by side, the marrow mass that Cuchulainn made of the bones of the Ulstermen's cattle for the healing of Kehern, son of Fintan, which we saw in previous episode, and the marrow mass that Iliach made of the bones of the men of Erin. Wherefore this was one of the 3 innumerable things of the Táin, the number of them that fell at the hands of Iliach. So that this is the Clump fight of Iliach. It is for this reason it is called the Clump fight of Iliach, because with cobbles and boulders and messy clumps he made his fight. So now you know. Thereafter Dóché, son of Maga, met him. Is not this Iliach? Asked Dóché, son of Maga. It is truly I, Iliach gave answer. And come to me now, and cut off my head, and let my sword remain with thee for thy friend, for Lora O'Brien, the victorious. Dóché came near him and gave him a blow with the sword so that he severed his head. Thus to this point, the Clump fight of Iliach. And this here is 23D, so we're going to finish section 23 here with 23E. Here now the deer stalking of Amargin in Tailtiu. This Amargin was the son of Cass, who was son of Bach, who was son of Rosrua the Red, who was son of Rudriga. He came upon the warriors going over Tailtiu westward, and he made them turn before him over Tailtiu northwards. And he put his left elbow under him in Tailtiu, and his people furnished him with rocks and boulders and great clumps of earth, and he began to pelt the men of Erin till the end of 3 days and 3 nights. So again, I know I've said this before, but if you're new here and you're confused as to what the hell is going on, then just go back to the start. Really is the best bet. Here at this point, what we seem to have in the Táin is again Dinhenicus, and this whole rocks and boulders and great clumps of earth is very reminiscent of the the moving and the shaping of land, which would be around sovereignty, and it's tying in with the themes of that, but it's not very clear, as ever with Irish texts. It's not very clear exactly what's going on. So that would be my take on it, that there is much older stories, sovereignty stories, land shaping stories that are being remembered or woven in through the Táin, and then of course the lore of place names, the Dinhenicus, is how that looks then as we're reading through the story. The adventures of Curie, son of Dare, follow now. He was told that a single man was checking and stopping 4 of the 5 grand provinces of Erin from Monday at summer's end, Samhain, till the beginning of spring, and he felt it unworthy of himself, and he deemed it too long that his people were without him. And it was then he set out to host to fight and contend with Cuchulainn. And when he was come to the place where Cuchulainn was, he saw Cuchulainn there moaning, full of wounds and pierced through with holes, and he felt it would not be honourable nor fair to fight and contend with him after the combat with Ferdia. So we've had that huge epic battle with Ferdia. Because it would be said it was not that Cuchulainn died of the sores and wounds which he would give him, so much as of the wounds that Ferdia had inflicted on him in the conflict before. Be that as it might, Cuchulainn offered to engage him in battle and combat. Thereupon Curie set forth for to seek the men of Erin, and when he was near at hand, he espied Amargin there, and his left elbow under him to the west of Tailtiu. Curie reached the men of Ireland from the north. His people equipped him with rocks and boulders and great clumps. Again, I would put that Curie is an interesting character, has come up in other stories, such as Flavrickran, Brickrew's Feast, which involves Cuchulainn and Conall Cernach and Lira Buajoch. They have to go to Curie to decide which of them gets the champion's portion after they've been to Cruachan, I believe. So there are some theories that Curie may have Dagda associations, but I believe that there's definitely older primal god stuff going on with Curie. So he's equipped with rocks and boulders and great clumps. Obviously, that's just my personal gnosis, so just take that as you will. But anyway, he began to hurl them right over against Amargin, so that Bive's battle stones collided in the clouds and in the air high above them, and every rock of them was shivered into 100 stones. By the truth of thy valour, O Curie, cried Maeve, desist from thy throwing, for no real succour nor help comes to us therefrom. But ill is the succour and help that thence come to us. I pledge my word, cried Curie, I will not cease till the very day of doom and of life, till first Amargin cease. I will cease, said Amargin, and do thou engage that thou wilt no more come to succour or to give aid to the men of Erin. Curie consented to that and went his way to return to his land and people. Again, so Amargin is Conall Cernach's father, and he is a warrior poet. And the Song of Amargin would be quite well known, I suppose, for people. There is a story about Amargin who fights a monster that comes out of the cave at Cruachan every Samhain, Ellen Tríceann. And I've retold it in my book, actually, Tales of Old Ireland Retold. And there's just, again, it's just reminiscent of the newcomer coming in and fighting the older gods. There's a smell of Lugh and Balor about it as well, you know, like these are strong themes that are replayed out in stories time and time again, and I believe that could be part of what's going on here. About this time, the hosts went past Tailtiu westwards. It is not this was enjoined upon me, quoth Amargin, never again to cast at the hosts. And he went to the west of them, and he turned them before him north eastwards past Tailtiu. And he began to pelt them for a long while and time. Then it was also that the men of Erin said it would be no disgrace for Amargin to leave the camp and quarters, and that the hosts would retire a day's march back to the north again, there to stop and stay, and for him to quit his feats of arms upon the hosts until such time as he would meet them on the day of the great battle, when the 4 grand provinces of Erin's would encounter at Garrick and Ilgarrick in the battle of the raid for the Kine of Cooley. Amargin accepted that offer, and the host proceeded a day's march back to the northwards again, whereafter the deer stalking of Amargin at Tailtiu, the name of this tale. Deer stalking doesn't seem to have anything to do with that story, so there's definitely something else going on here, but that's all we got. The whole like shaking of the air and the shaping of the land and the moving of land, there's much deeper primal themes going on here that are just being retold then in this, you know, it's old to us now, but there were a lot older stories as well. Okay, we're going to leave it there for today, and I will see you in the next video. Please make sure and subscribe and check out the whole playlist, and enjoy. Slán go fóill.